Hello, everybody. Welcome to our. Okay, there I am. This is Jona Bryndis from transCODES for the life question and answers for the energy report, May 12th till 19th. So, this week that is starting here, or that has started a couple of days ago, and we've all noticed a shift. So, this is an opportunity for you to ask life questions and to comment here. So I would like to just bridge that time to go through some of the questions that I was asked up front. And so if you've read the energy update or watched the video that comes with it, I've already given 2 themes now for this coming week, and that is the ability to express who we truly are, and the energy centers that are concerned with that, which is the 4th and the 5th chakra, the heart and the throat chakra, and also the thymus that I mentioned in the energy update that could be stimulated right now to embrace those energies even more. All right, so what does this even mean? Those of you who are not familiar with energy work or energy healing terms, what does this mean when I say to go into the expression of who we truly are? That's like kind of broad, but I'll make a couple of examples here how this could look like and how we can apply this. For instance, there's Mother's Day coming up. At least most of the Western world is going to have Mother's Day, and maybe some family gatherings, and at least, sort of dinner together or spending some time together. And this is a perfect opportunity to practice this. All right, because what happens when we're surrounded with our family is that all kinds of energetic dynamics are taking place, all kinds of sort of unspoken, unseen patterns are taking place. And here is one of those situations that most of us have frequently in our lives, where we get into a conflict between are we acting or saying things to keep others happy, to avoid conflict, or are we responding to some of these subtle, unseen dynamics that are going on, or are we just letting it be? Are we allowing others to say rude things, or to do things that are really sort of against our own grain? And do we just sort of detach or shut down? Or how do we react? How do we work with a situation like this in context with expressing who we truly are? There's, of course, many different layers to that. And depending on our perception, on our consciousness, on our ability to pinpoint all these subtle dynamics, we will receive or perceive anything from subtle attacks, subtle manipulation, triangulation, where one person says something about the other and tries to pull you in, projections, absorption, all kinds of energetic things are happening. And depending on how well trained we are, we'll be more or less aware of them. But how do we really deal with situations that challenge who we truly are? What does that mean, who we truly are? From an energy standpoint or energy work standpoint, who we truly are means being in our center and really knowing who we are, knowing our strengths and our weaknesses, knowing our triggers, and are somewhat okay with where we are. We don't expect ourselves to be perfect. We know that this is an illusion. We know that we can't control others. We know that we can't really control ourselves even. And so we're kind of like in a place with ourselves where we agree to just being who we are. Now, does this mean that we don't have any higher goals? No, on the contrary, we can have a lot of higher goals and strive for more consciousness, for more spiritual awareness, for better manifestation and so forth. But when a person is centered and consolidated in their heart, as we say, then they kind of come across as calm, as secure, if you will. So any of these examples that I made earlier that are sort of popping up in party situations or in groups of people at work, at home, or especially at family gatherings, have a lot to do with people being insecure, with people not being centered in their heart. And the main causes for that is they either think they're not good enough, they want to please others so that they feel more loved or more accepted, they're seeking validation, approval, and so forth. So those are all things that get us into a place where we become incongruent. So being incongruent means we're doing or saying or feeling one thing, but deep down our inner sentiment about it is different, is in resistance, is somehow contrary. And this can be related to our beliefs that we have that, for instance, just to name a few common ones, you have to respect your mother, you have to respect your elders, or that you want to avoid trouble, you don't want to get into fights and so forth, you generally avoiding or shutting down. So all these things come in here as we are in these situations, and we have to find a way to deal with this. All right, so the big issue here is, for most people, is that they really not know who they are. And so we kind of just become fire portal outers, and as we're energetically sensitives or empaths, it gets even worse. We pick up on every single subtle little shift with people. We pick up with his emotions, her emotions, the stuff that's going on between them, how they're sort of projecting this on the outside. And we never really get to the place where we can ask ourselves, well, how do I truly feel? How do I truly feel right now? All right, so this is how you can do centering. You don't have to know any fancy energy work techniques. Before you respond to anything that you're being asked or that you're observing, go into your heart. Go like here, into this place here, through breathing. All right? Breathing is the easiest way to connect with this physical part of you, and energetically it will do its part. Your energy knows what to do. You know, you just need to sort of follow that inner prompting, follow your inner guidance. And then you ask yourself, how do you feel right now? Let's do this together. I'm going to share a technique with you, which is I called IAM breathing. I announced this in the video. If you haven't watched the video yet, just go ahead and watch it after this live stream here. It's a technique where you can center your energies in your heart, and at the same time clear energies out of, you know, this sort of expression part of yourself. So right here is usually where most of us can feel this, when we're in situations where we don't want to confront, or where we don't want to say our truth, or where we feel unable to express our truth. All right, and this breathing is as simple as it gets, really, as far as energy work techniques is concerned. It's called I am breathing because it involves the words I am, but it can also be done without those words. The main idea is to build an inner pattern, an inner pathway for you to center your energies no matter where you're at. So if you're in public, you may want to omit the I am part, like saying these words, but I will demonstrate this to you. The whole point is accepting that most of your energies are somewhere sort of floating around in and around your body. If you don't know yet how to differentiate emotional, mental, spiritual energies and so forth, don't worry about this. You don't have to know any of this. All you got to know is, like, where is my center? Okay, your center is right here, the center of your chest, you know, kind of like on the level of your heart, but it's the center. And everything, just to simplify it, everything like above this level here, okay, could be considered as mental energies. There's also spiritual energies, and of course it's not that easy to separate our energies from another, but if you just follow me with this visualization. And everything below this level here consider this to be your emotional energies, your karmic inner child stuff, and so forth. Stuff that is much harder to pinpoint. All right, so this is usually where those energies get stored in your body. And so as you breathe in, I want you to visualize literally pulling those energies in. Okay, let's practice this just with your mental energies. All right, as you breathe in, feel it like as if you creating sort of a vacuum cleaner in your heart, and pull in all those mental energies, all these thoughts, your critical inner voice, the inner conflicts. Just pull this into your heart. And as you breathe out, I want you to visualize breathing it out sideways. So naturally we picture it breathing it out forward, but I want you to go sideways. There's a reason for this, a metaphysical reason. But let's practice this a little bit and then move on to our emotional energies, because there you'll actually feel this. So as you breathe in, pull in all energies from here, from your head, your throat, your shoulders, all the burdens that you take, and even from above your head. Pull this into your heart. Hold still for a second, and then release it sideways. And the longer you can go with breathing out, the more effective the clearing actually. And I'll explain this for those of you who like sort of scientific explanations, why this works and how this works. But let's continue the practice. Breathing in, holding, breathing out. Okay? And now I want you to do the same thing with the lower energies. You can't see this right now here because I got my phone sideways, but picture sucking in, pulling in all those emotional, all those sort of mushy energies from below your heart center into your heart as you're breathing in. And breathe them out sideways. Again, breathing in and breathing out. All right, as you get used to these two components, it's kind of like playing piano, learning the right hand, learning the left hand. Now we're actually connecting your hemispheres, and now we're doing both at the same time. This takes a little practice, so don't expect yourself to be able to do this the first time. Now I want you to breathe in and pull both parts in at the same time. Holding. Breathing out. All right, I know some of you guys can feel this. All right, I can feel this energetically. This is my job, okay? I'm a remote energy worker. So let's do this again. All right, there's a clearing effect with this, and also a centering effect. You don't need to know anything about energy work. All you need is to know how to breathe. And we all know how to breathe. We just have to make it a little more conscious to ourselves and what we're doing this for. All right? So as you do this, and now comes the tricky part, and this is the part that will help you to clear your throat chakra, to clear this clump in your throat. All right? As you breathe in, yes, it's very simple. It's very simple, but it's not easy. All right? Most energy work and energy healing techniques are very simple. They're just not easy. All right? And so we have to practice that a little bit. And so as you breathe in, I want you to say the word I. And as you breathe out, I want you to say the word am. And as you can hear this, am kind of lends itself to breathing out. So really stretch that M at the end, kind of like the Om. All right, it's the same thing. It's just very similar. It has to do with resonance within our body, with involving our vocal cords, with flushing our entire energy with a certain frequency. And the words I am are very high vibratory words. Not just in the English language. If you speak a different native language, use the words that are that you would use in your language. All right, it's usually 2 words. In most languages, it's 2 words. So as you breathe in, refer to yourself, refer to your center, and as you breathe out, refer to your being, your beingness. All right, and so let's do this together. All right, and you will crack up laughing now, because it's so hard to vocalize even just a simple sound like I with breathing in. Okay, we're not used to this, and this is the practice. Opening up your throat as you breathe in. All right, well, this is kind of like what this sounds like. And because it sounds a bit eerie, I recommend not to do this in public at first while you're practicing. And even if you, are very trained in this, this is more like for you. This is like really sort of spiritual first aid, as I call it. All right, but when you are in this, like, say, Mother's Day family dinner situation, okay, yeah, there's a dog, and there's a cat, and there's all kinds of animals around me. As you're in these situations where you can't really do this kind of stuff, you can still do this without saying I am, but the practice of opening up your throat chakra and activating this whole area here, okay, is very, very beneficial for the energies to come here in the next week, and in general, of course. I've taught this technique to thousands of people, and to most people, this actually ends up their to-go place when they're like in an emotional or physical distress. So try this. All right. I have, yes, I can read your comments here. I have another subject to talk about. Oh, the scientific or metaphysical explanation, okay, why this works. I know you've heard these terms over and over again, and they're kind of misused a bit, so you'll maybe hear me say this in a sort of less mystical way than most try to explain this. But really what happens is that as you center your intention and your energies in your heart center, here in the center of your center, something happens to your energy. And that is, there's a very, very powerful vortex here in your heart. Vortex is like a sort of a concentration of energy, and it's moving extremely fast, kind of like a black hole, but a black hole in a positive sense. And picture this, like, as everything that you're throwing in there is being energetically inverted and comes out on the other side, sort of as the opposite. So all the negativity, all the gunk that you're carrying around with you, all the stuff that you've been absorbing here with the family dinner, all right, you can send this into your heart vortex as you go. I mean, it's probably better to, get yourself some space and maybe excuse yourself for 5 minutes or so to fully clear yourself, but you can do this as you go. Yes, and I'll get to your comments here. Please ask questions, all right? So this heart vortex is kind of like we call this a zero field. It's like it's an event horizon where everything can be depolarized or repolarized, if you will. So you send negativity in and it comes out as neutral energy. And this is now energy that is available for you again. For your etheric protection, say, or for just, feeling less bombarded, or for feeling, more secure about yourself. And that's done when the expression part comes in, when all this is cleared out. Of course, it's a lot more complex than that. You will see, and I'm sure all of you guys have had these moments before where when you talk, everything sort of flows. It just goes like real easy, and you find the right words at the right time. And when your throat chakra and your heart chakra, when they're like clogged, then things get a little bit, You know, words don't come out right, or it's too late, or you don't know what to say, and your mind is too much involved. So this is what fourth and fifth chakra work is about. All right, the application at the family dinner is merely for you to find your center and to not feel so bombarded by other people's energies. You don't have to react to other people's energies. If you consolidate it, you'll feel perfectly fine where you're at. Okay? So even if it's your mom or your sister or your dad or your husband saying things that would normally upset you when you centered, they won't get to you as much. Now, this whole subject of energetic absorption is, of course, very complex, and I'd recommend you to go on the transCODES website onto the blog and type in the keyword energetic absorption and read a little bit more about the energetic dynamics behind that. It's very difficult. Yes, and a lot of people here are giving me positive comments, and I've got lots of emails today after I sent out the energy report. And I want to answer your questions now, and there's one question that is particularly on my heart. I was asked this yesterday. So why are we taking in their energies and using it in a better way or not? Why we're not taking it? Well, the reason for that is the conditioning that we have. We were conditioned to be nice, to a degree to please others, all right? But for the most part, it's something that we picked up as children, where we felt like we had to do something in order to get this approval, in order to belong. And for empaths and energetically sensitive people, this is particularly detrimental, because this ability, this talent to pick up on other people's energies, all right, as a child, we don't know how to properly use this. Yes, you're an energetic sponge because you don't know how to properly process, how to metabolize those energies. All right, so just because we're empaths, just because we can, doesn't mean we have to. We still are our own system, and other people are their own system as well. I just got out of a public meeting here, a webinar amongst Sacred Self Healing members, where we discussed this question as well. How open is open enough to connect? It's all about being present, but you don't have to use your abilities to manipulate the situation either. That is where we all get in trouble. We become energetic sponges because we are misusing this in order to, and here is the hard part to accept, in order to get some kind of payoff, in order to get attention, in order to get approval, validation, or simply just feeling more loved. Not that there's anything wrong with this, but the way we're doing this, I know we all crave this, but the way we're doing this triggers a whole bunch of backfiring energetic dynamics, and that is absorption. All right? So with this sort of untrained way of using our energetic sensitivity, we are actually absorbing other people's energies on the tail end, and that is what is so difficult. I know this is how do we protect ourselves from other, I've written like about 150 articles about this and have 35 energy modalities here at transCODES to help people to protect their energy. It's not just done with the intention of wanting to protect, but the breathing work that I just introduced is, if you believe it or not, as simple as it is, a very effective way of protecting your energy, because it consolidates your energy. So one of the biggest issues with energetic absorption is that we unconsciously project. We project our energy, and even if it is because we think we're light workers and we have to project our light out to others to make them feel better or to heal them, this is a huge mistake, folks. As soon as you project your energy out to somebody else, you are creating a channel here. And if you're not sure what you're doing, and if the other person, or if you're not sure what the other person has in mind, then this creates a very dangerous canal of energies traveling, and this is why you end up absorbing other people's energies. This leads me to something that I mentioned in the energy report, and that is a too open heart chakra. Well, some of you might think, like, how can you have a too open heart chakra? All right, we're here, we want to fill this world with love and so forth, and I can really relate to that. I was sharing in the webinar earlier that it brought me to tears about 20 years ago when I first realized that me projecting my light out is really what creates all my misery. It's not that there's anything wrong with this, but it's if we do this in an untrained way, we absorb more than we do good. We do more harm than we do good. So it comes back to the principle that we have to put the oxygen mass on ourselves first. But the whole point about a too open heart chakra is that if our energies, and this counts for all our energy centers, and even if you don't know what a chakra is, doesn't matter, you can just follow me here. If you are too open, all right, then you're inviting other energies in. And as long as you're not trained enough to discern the energies that are coming in, you're going to let everything in, and that's the problem. The problem is not that we need to shut down or close off. The problem is that we don't know how to properly discern the energies that are coming in. All right? I mean, how many of you have fallen, for false prophets, false love, false this, I mean, how many of you have made huge mistakes in your lives because, or perceived mistakes because you didn't listen to your gut feeling? Give me some feedback here. How many of you have made decisions where you knew it was going to be wrong? You had the right prompting at the right time, and yet, for some other reason, maybe in order to look good in the eyes of the other, or because of your conditioning, or because of what the group said was the right thing. Yes, we all have. And that's why it's so important to learn how to discern energies. And if our heart chakra is too open, we're letting everything in unfiltered. And so what we need to learn is the differences between emotions, feelings, and sensations. The difference between wanting approval from somebody else, wanting attention from somebody else, and at the same time being centered in who we truly are. And here we come back to the beginning of our discussion here. Who we truly are is usually the problem. I'm sorry, I can't show the I am breathing again, but just wait until we're done here, and then there's a recording, and then you can watch this again. It's a super, super important thing to learn, and very, very simple. It's also described on my website, but I think demonstrating it here is much easier to understand. When you read the words, how I explain it sounds very technical. But yeah. So I really appreciate you guys being here and asking all these questions. And I don't know if you've ever done a live video on Facebook before, but you're just sort of like a ticker. So if I miss your question, please excuse me, for not picking up on that, and comment here in the comment section after the video is posted so I can answer to you in typing. All right. Here's a question. Could you say a feeling is the only real component? Feeling into your question, I think what you're saying, I would agree with. So I differentiate emotions from feelings in that an emotion is tied to our autonomous nervous system, is tied to our past memory, to our cell memory. Whereas a feeling is more of something that is coming in and that is very spontaneous. So the spontaneity of our inner subtle feelings is what makes us makes it hard for us to trust in it. But again, here, 4th, 5th chakra, all this has to do with this. All right, the lower chakras, where we mostly store our emotional energies and karmic stuff and so forth, that's influencing our emotions. All right, so even if we think we're in control of this mentally, even if we think we have all the metaphysical understanding in the world, there are hot wires that are coming from our emotions that are stored and regulated in our lower chakras, that influence the way we perceive and the way we emote. They're directly anchored into our autonomous nervous system. And again, I've written quite a bit about this in the last 6 weeks, because that was one of the big issues in the last 6 weeks here, being bombarded. All right. Someone of you mentioned tingling in the ears is a very common 6th and 7th chakra sensation. This is showing you that there's something opening up here in this area. Okay, this includes your ears. The 6th chakra is kind of like, you know, your third eye is kind of like down here in between your eyes. Okay, so very often you will hear the ear tingling or the buzzing as one of these what people often call typical ascension symptom. All right, it's opening up. And when something is opening up in energy work, we call this the energies are speeding up. It's moving faster, and this can be translated in a sensation. So that's a sensation of tingling, a high-pitched tone in your ears and buzzing. This can go all the way to feeling this vertigo feeling and a rather uncomfortable, extreme type of sensations. But don't get into fear when you experience this, all right? Breathing, again, you know, just breathing through it, breathing into it, just like we just practiced, can help you to ease the symptoms, all right? So sensations are things that come through mostly our body, but it can also come through to some of our energetic body, which means sort of unexplainable things that happen. Another one, very typical, is sort of twitching in the eye. Has any one of you had eye twitches lately, especially at the beginning of the year? Mm-hmm. Yes, eye twitching is something that shows you that there is, I mean, of course, provided that there is no medical diagnosis for it, but it's usually showing you that there are energies speeding up here in your inner mind's eye. All right, so that's not anything to be worried about. It can also be linked to fear. So again, here, the centering and the calming down is really, really important. This counts for any of your energetic sensations, and this is why I recommend everybody over and over again to train yourself to learn your inner lexicon of sensations and energetic feelings. Because the more you know them, the more relaxed you can be about them, and just witness them as like, oh, okay, I got stuff going on in my throat chakra, I got stuff going on in my crown, you know, I got energies coming in, you know, I got issues with my root right now, you know, I got money problems and so forth, yeah, you know, and as a result you have hip issues. So there's connections there, and you can learn this. Everybody can learn this. We all have this sense, all right, for our energy. It's just that we were never taught it, all right? So I need to, yes, the eye twitch and the computer glitches like crazy. Yes, I was asked this 2 times today if there's a glitch in the matrix, because people are having these like really weird sort of rattly eye sensations where whatever they're seeing kind of has this distortion, all right? Yeah, guys, I mean, this is like what we've all been waiting for. This is more and more people are waking up, and as we transcend our own stuff and decouple from the collective group karma, we are clearing aspects of the matrix, the collective consciousness, the collective energy grid, all right? There's also lots of stuff going on right now as far as like dark forces coming in from the outside, and you know, I don't want to be the doomsayer and all that. So there's chaos out there, and this is not going to get any better. In fact, this has started 2012, for some of you even like 1986. But we are in the midst and the height of a very important sort of resolution cycle. It's the time where we are supposed to really clear out some of the fundamental collective group karma. Okay, and this will lead to a build of more violence, more terror, more chaos around us, but that doesn't mean that it has to affect us. With energetic consolidation, centering, and clearing techniques, you can learn how to not having to react to these things, how to not being a victim of this. Yes, 2012, exactly. And the way we do this, I mean, this is what awakening is, guys. You're awakening up. You're awakening to your senses, all right? And the way to learn this is to really go in there and learn how to push through this, all right? At transCODES, we're doing this for more than 7 years now. I've been an energy worker, an energy healer for more than 10 years now. We know what we're doing. The people that are trained here at transCODES can read energies. They can help you. We do energy sessions where we're with you in that session, and we report to you and answer your questions right afterwards. We can tell you what was going on, how your energy responded, and give you tips. This is what energy coaching is about. What about indigo children? This is going to have to be the last question here. Indigo children is a phenomena. That is a phenomena of our next generations, okay? Our kids are upgrades. They're energetic upgrades of us. We were energetic upgrades of our previous generation. Indigo children, the word indigo children is a form of specialness, okay? Forget about the word. This is about the generations to follow, all right? I have 2 generations of children. I have 18 and 17-year-olds, and I have a 3-year-old, and I can tell you that, you know, the millennials that are made fun of, you know, they have some really cool abilities, and it's for us really, it's us who can't really adapt to those people who are, you know, 15 to 20 years old or 35. We're not getting it how they function, and this is even more apparent in the younger ones that were born after 2012, 13, 14. These kids have these abilities already built in. They don't need to be taught, okay? Millennials have an issue because they are they have to straddle 2 worlds, and the school system and everything was not compatible. So skip the word indigo children and just really look at our future generations as natural energy workers, natural light workers, because quite frankly, they're going to have to resolve all the problems that we are leaving behind. And that's quite a bit. All right. So what the younger generations need is our support. They need our training. They need our education. And those guys here who are younger, you know, please do not ever get caught up in this talk about you guys, okay? You have abilities. You know, all of you Asperger's, autistic, ADD, ADHD, dyslexic children or adolescents. There's a reason why you have these issues and why you're not fitting in, because your brain structure is updated. You have a whole different neurological setup. And if you liked the book series or the movies Divergence, you are what we call neurodivergent in a good way, okay? So keep working on this. Develop the centering, develop this truth within yourself, all right? You guys are going to change your profession 5 times in your lifetime. You don't have to know what you want to do by the time you're 18, okay? Just don't worry about this, all right? And you guys here from the older generation as myself, you know, who've gone through several cycles of New Age teachings and whatnot, all right? Give these guys respect. They're going to have to resolve overpopulation, nutrition, environmental issues, and war and destruction, all right? That doesn't mean we have to feel guilty, but go and work with them. All right, everything that you've learned. For us, it was hard because, you know, our parents punished us when we talked about our energetic sensitivity. You know, we were called like children of the devil, whatever, you know, whatever religion we grew up in. You know, so for us, it was traumatic. Okay, for these children that are following us, it doesn't have to be traumatic. We need to support them. Even if we can't teach them, then go learn energy work with them together. All right? Say, hey, honey, I honestly can't answer this to you, but let's find out together. All right? I know I can get very, very passionate about the subject, and I'm sorry that I missed so many of your questions. I'm going to be able to look at them after the video, in the course of the weekend. I'm going to respond to you. All right. I really, really appreciate you all coming. It's awesome. I'm used to talking to large audiences, but mostly sort of just on my microphone and not really seeing them. I still can't see you, but at least I get direct feedback from you, and that's really, really cool. If you're looking for a platform where you can learn all these things and where you can exchange with people, we do this all the time, once a week at least, here at transCODES within the Sacred Self-Healing Program. That's a 12-month program, almost like a membership, if you will, where you learn hands-on energy work techniques. It's very hands-on, okay? Even though the language is sometimes a bit mental, just to explain things on the technical level. But when we come together, we talk about hands-on things, how to talk to my mom, how to talk to my kids, how to get over my critical inner voice, how to talk to my husband, all right? Yes, and labeling, I agree with you, is what creates separation. All right, guys, I gotta go now. Thank you so much for coming here, and please keep posting, keep asking questions. This live question and answers will be on every Saturday, the same time. Every Saturday night, 7 p.m. my time. So depending on what time zone you're in, same time next Saturday. All right, so stay tuned for the next energy update coming on Thursday or Friday. All right, bye-bye.